morning, everybody. It is Kandice Porter here, and we are coming at you with another live, unapologetic Black woman series. Listen, today is episode 11. We have been breezing through these episodes, and I'm just having a great time getting to talk to some unapologetic Black women. And today we are not putting on no brakes. We're keeping on going. We are pressing on the gas. And today I have Shainika Jacobs, who is the CEO of Adam's Purpose and Jacobs Consulting Services. Listen, I'm going to get out of the way. I'm going to let her introduce herself. So Shainika, we're going to call her Shay today. Talk to us.
Well, Kandice, thank you so much for inviting me on the show. I've been admiring and watching as you've been interviewing a lot of unapologetic, awesome Black women in business and ministry. And so I count it an honor to just join you this morning. And so I'm ready to dive in. It's just a privilege to be here.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm like, I am in such expectation this morning. I don't know where that's coming from. You're pulling on me in some different ways today. And I really appreciate that because I am coming with an expectation today. So I know that something beautiful is going to happen. I just want to let everyone know who is joining us today that the comment section is open. We absolutely love to have this to be a community thing so that, and the comments are already popping. We already have Alicia in here who said, lovely Kay. Good morning. Good morning.
Hi, Alicia. Good morning.
Yes,
good morning.
And listen, we're just here for a good time. So, Shay, I love to just break it up a little bit. I don't know if do you have something to drink? You have your coffee this morning?
Well, I got my water. I've got my Adam's mom's cup that was custom made for me for Adam's Purpose. So I'm going to be hydrated while we talk through it.
Okay? You want to know what? And I'm going to give you a cheers. Can I say cheers to all my entrepreneurs? We're just going to say cheers to all my entrepreneurs. Absolutely, Shay. I love that glass, and I can't wait to get into the meaning behind it. But before we get started, all right, we are going to do a little this or that. Okay. Right. So I just want to break it up a little bit and see if we can get a little bit more about you before we get started. So first thing up, this or that. Are you a summer baby or a winter baby?
Summer.
Summertime. You got me. Yeah. Summertime is coming. Are you a summer baby?
No. Well, yes, I was born in August, but I prefer summer over winter, but fall is my favorite season.
Ooh.
And I like the sweaters, I like the boots. I like fall fashion. So that's why fall for me, the hats, the everything, the layering up. But I was born in August, so I'm a summer baby, but fall is my favorite season because of the fashion and the weather. It's beautiful.
Shay, I fall in agreement with you there. I am a summer baby as well, but when you bring up fall, I love the fall fashions as well. I love the leaves changing. I love the cooler weather, but not too cool. I love it all. So yes, I agree. Now, how about this?
All right.
East Coast or West Coast?
Oh, I'm gonna have to say West Coast. I'm gonna have to say West Coast. I'm very Midwest, but I'm gonna have to say West Coast.
Okay, Shay says West Coast. West Coast. I have never really been to the East Coast, so I agree with you. West Coast will be the best coast. And can we talk about the Super Bowl? West Coast was all the way up and through.
Was that crip walking, Kandice?
Don't make me get up.
It took me back. Hey.
I was like, Snoop at any moment is gonna do it. So, and he did, and I was so proud. Okay, last one. Here we go. 90s R&B or 80s hip hop?
I'm an R&B junkie. I would have to go with the 90s R&B all day. That was my era coming out of high school, in high school. So I can relate to the 90s R&B scene more than I can relate to the 80s hip hop.
Great, Shay. I feel like we're like the same person because that's exactly what I was hoping. I was like, I hope that she says 90s R&B.
Oh,
So
yeah.
tell me who was your favorite 90s R&B um male group?
Okay, this was back in the day. So, like,
Yes.
groups like Jodeci, Boys to Men, H-Town,
Woo!
I mean, it could go on and on. It's like a plethora. You can't even just stop at one. If I start naming one, it's like, man, the perfect concert would have like 7 or 8 lineups back in the day. It would have just been lit. And then I was from Minneapolis, and so, we had a lot of music coming through there, and so it's great.
Girl, you are my kind of chick.
Yeah.
I am all of those things. I love me a good record by Jodeci and H-Town. You got me with all of that. Do you hear
Right.
me? You got me.
Right. Right.
Um, our girl Sparkle is on here. Good
I love Sparkle. Good
morning,
morning, Sparkle.
Sparkle and Flash. Okay. Good
Okay.
morning from snowy Colorado. We are getting dumped on in 2022, but it's okay because if that snow was here in December, Boulder would not have done what it did. So it's okay. We welcome the snow
We will
for
take it.
today.
A blessing.
So, absolutely. So, Shay,
Yes.
here we are.
Yes, let's do it.
Let's do it.
I'm
Tell
excited.
me, you know what? Tell me a little bit about I just want to talk about who you are first, just as a Black woman. We're going to start there because that is important. Tell me who you are as a unapologetic Black woman.
Well, that's a great question. I would have to say, try not to get into too many roles, but I am definitely a wife.
Yes.
I'm a mother, but
Yeah.
most of all, I am a daughter of the Most High. And so
Ooh,
for
come on.
me, that is my everything. That trumps it all.
Yes.
That helps me to be the wife, the mom, the
Mhm.
entrepreneur. I'm your friend. I'm your sister. I'm your community helper.
Yes.
I am her, and
Ooh.
I'm proud and enjoying who I have become through the storms and the rain, Candice. I'm in a sweet
Mm.
season of
Mm.
enjoying what God has done through it all. And so I'm my best friend right now. I've never said that
Ooh.
before. I really am enjoying me. I know you didn't ask me all of that, but that's the
No.
authentic real right now. I am in a season of enjoying being and becoming. And it
Mm.
is so sweet to
Mm.
culminate through life's ups and downs and trials and to say and look in the mirror and say, you know what? I like her. I
Mm.
love her. She's all
Mm.
right. I would be her friend. I'm her friend. I am me. She is me. I'm her.
Listen, y'all, I told Shay before we got on here, I said, Shay, I am walking. I said, I have an expectation today. I feel like something is pulling me today. And we already getting started. We ain't even been in a good 10 minutes. And no, you're right. I didn't ask for that, but that's exactly what I'm talking about. It don't even matter that I asked for it. It's that you were able to share that with me because I hear you. When you said that I am my best friend right now, can you expound on that a little bit more?
Oh, Candace. And this is unrehearsed for those of you
Yeah,
who are watching. It's not like
yes,
I came ready scripted with anything. I came ready
no.
with the expectation too.
Yeah.
When I say that, I've come to enjoy being me and loving me. And I have a great group of family and friends and
Mm,
supporters and people that I'm so close and cool with. And I count it a privilege to have a tribe and a village.
yes.
However, I am not dependent like I used to be emotionally on that tribe and village to be everything to me,
Ooh.
and for me to deplete myself trying to be everything to them.
Ooh.
I am coexisting in a different season of enjoying Shainika. And if nobody comes along for the ride, Candace, it is well with my soul. I'm serious. I have just entered into this place and it is so great. It is so great to fight through it. I mean, it has been a fight of my
Yeah.
life, but
Yes.
now I can smell the roses and I
Oh,
can look back and gaze and say, God, all of that was for a purpose.
yes.
I thank you because at the time, oh Candace, at the
Mm.
time, it
Yes.
did not seem like it was going to benefit me too great.
Goodness. So now let me ask you. I'm taking it in, y'all. I'm taking it in.
Yes.
Um, when did you I know that you said that you're getting there, like you feel like you're finally there. Tell us, how long do you think it took you to get there?
My whole life.
I know it, right?
My whole life,
Yes.
and I'm talking about the good, the bad, the ugly, the twists, the turns, the
Yes.
valleys, the disappointments, the self-sabotage, the personal bondages, I'm talking about, the misplaced expectations, all of
Mm.
that, trying to become, trying to do, trying to be, the Lord has just really been shifting me in let me do something on the inside of you. Excuse me for 1 second. I'm going to grab myself a tissue. I think I'm going to need it.
Absolutely. As Shay is going to grab a tissue, I think it is important that we open ourselves up for the work. If we're not opening ourselves up for God to do his perfecting work in us, then you can forget it. You have to be open to even let him work in the first place, right?
Yeah. So thank you for that quick break. But I was like,
Mhm.
I'm probably going to need those tissues anyway.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
so yeah, just I think a culmination of life, a lot of hurt, a lot of disappointment, a lot of pain, but
Yes.
that doesn't have to define us. The pain, the shame, the past doesn't have to define your future. If we
Yes.
allow God to transform us, he can use all of that and build it out, build our lives up from the rubble. You can get a new
Yes.
foundation from everything that was broken. Only the Lord can do it if we allow and we lean into that process of being built back up, even through loss and devastation. And so
God.
that is the story. And that's what I share with,
Yeah.
what has happened in my life. And I'm just blessed. I'm blessed to have joy on this side of
Yes.
trauma, you know, and
Yes.
drama. Um,
Trauma and
some,
drama.
some is life, some was self-induced,
Hello.
some was generational that we had to unravel.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
some was parenting, family, marriage. I mean, all of
Yes.
it,
All of it.
career, all of it, the whole mix, the whole mix.
Absolutely. It's all just a collection of all the things, right? And then it just attaches itself to us. And if we don't take the time to really do the work with that, you're going to be a mess. Like, absolutely, you're going to be a mess. So, Shay, to hear that you are in your sweet spot in life and just being and becoming, when I tell you that's speaking to me right now at such a pivotal time in my life, where I sometimes you just have to just say, you want to know what, I am being and I'm becoming all at the
All at the
same
same
time,
time.
and it's still a sweet spot.
It is. Because you know what, Candace? I don't have to figure it out anymore.
Mm,
I don't have to chase God trying to figure out what he's already told me, what he's already given me. I
mm,
just got to learn how to be still and manifest that and trust him that he's going to do it. Even if I fluff, even if I make a mistake, even if I turn and I don't get it, if my heart is to do what he's called me to do and to
yes.
pursue what he's called me to pursue, surely he's the one that's going to ensure that it takes place. I just want to stay in position. And when I get out of position, I just get right back in position. No more beating myself up over the head and trying to say you could have did it this way and that way and why didn't. No, I'm not the one that's omnipotent. I'm not the one that's all
Mm,
knowing. I'm not the
mm,
one that's all powerful, but I trust in the one who is. And so I'm learning to rest in his faithfulness and
yes.
his goodness, and he will complete the good work that he began in me, even if it looks a little rough.
Y'all, Shay's getting started, and I feel it. I feel it. I feel it. I want to get over to the comments real quick. Alicia said, "Yes, that's where I'm trying to be." I hear you, Alicia. That is a striving point for all of us, so I get it. And Kenya Mahogany Fashaw is on the line.
Hi,
She
Kenya.
sends
Hi.
us good mornings, and I say good morning to you too, my girlfriend. So, thank you, Shay, for that. I really, really do appreciate those words. Now, let's get into who you are professionally.
Yeah, that's a great question. So, who I am professionally is blended with who I believe God called me to be, with some of the gifts that He's given me. And so they blend with, the Bible says that He will make room for your gifts. And
Yes.
so we can just let me just go right into it, because I know this can be a
Yeah.
sensitive topic. And
Yeah.
sometimes people are like, well, how do I ask about your grief and loss journey?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so first, I am the CEO and founder of Adam's Purpose. And
Yeah.
Adam's Purpose is a community grief organization that focuses on bringing help, hope, and healing to the Black community, to usher them into healing journey, to
Mm.
begin healing again after you've experienced loss of a loved one. And so that's one of the things that I do, and that was birthed out of my own journey. And then I'll tell you the other thing I do, and then Candice, I'm turning it over to you because you have great questions.
Girl,
Uh,
you doing it.
the other thing that I do is I love helping other people and seeing their visions get birthed.
Yes.
I'm that behind the scenes coach and cheerleader, like, let's do it.
Yeah.
Especially like, if God gave you this, you could do it. I can see the panoramic and the vision, like how it can happen. And so I am a creative consultant with
Yeah.
Jacobs Consulting Services. So I provide consulting, coaching, project management to help people birth or enhance or transition their visions, business ideas, and artistic avenues for like
Mm.
authors and speakers and performers into what it could evolve into.
Mm. I told y'all we were the same person. Shay, you're exactly right, because that is exactly my move, my next move in life. It's to help people with their vision process. I count it an honor and a privilege that God has positioned us in a place to be visionaries. And
Yes,
sometimes you have to be a visionary for people who can't quite see the vision. Um,
yes,
that's where God does make room for your gifts, because sometimes you get stuck and you're like, golly, I just need somebody to help me push this baby out. And then He puts people in position. Very importantly, that people who know God and are in tune with His Spirit, that yes, we we are those people that can help people birth and push that vision out. So I hear you, and that is my heart too, for the people to see bigger and to think bigger and to imagine bigger. Look, I use my imagination all of the time,
I
okay?
love your imagination. I can see your imagination through you, especially when you did bonding through the beat. I
Yeah,
just enjoyed watching you culminate and
yes.
become and birth that
Oh,
birth that out.
Oh, let me tell you something. When I was in those classrooms, woohoo, those kids would be like, wow, Miss Candice, you're like really out there. And I'm like, yeah, because my imagination is like running wild right now. So I just want to take a couple steps back.
Yes.
Um, I just want to talk a little bit about your grief journey. I know that you are in a position right now where you are able to share
Yeah.
yeah, what birthed Adam's Purpose. So, can you talk to us a little bit about that?
I would love to. I'm so passionate
Mhm.
about it. So in 2018, my husband and I, we experienced several losses. The first one was his mother. In May of 2018, we lost my husband's mom, and he's an only child.
Mm,
So it was just devastating for several reasons. Even though we knew she was nearing the end,
mm,
grief and loss and death is nonetheless still difficult
yes.
to process.
Mhm.
And so we lost mom,
Yeah.
and we were on our journey, just trying to figure it out and heal as a family.
Yes.
And so that was May. In July, we found out we were expecting. And it was the most exciting news because we were unsure. And Candace, at mom's funeral, the old church ladies kept tapping my back and my shoulder and say, "Y'all gonna have another one?" And I was like, "No,
No,
no,
actually,
quit wishing this on us. Yeah, have some more babies." I'm like, "Oh Lord." So
ah,
we're just dismissing it and like looking at each other. I
yes.
didn't realize I was a little plump.
You yeah,
Okay. I just
and you
had
were
not
actually
known.
pregnant.
Right. We just anyway.
Mhm.
So we were pregnant and so much joy. And
Oh.
that helped us to kind of grieve through the loss of mom. The old fable talks about, death and then new birth. And the new birth was, oh, we were
Yeah.
excited, expecting
Yes.
another son. Long story short, in September, I went in for a routine exam. And that morning I had to take, um, what was that? The drink, whatever
Yeah.
that you
Yes,
keep
that
taking.
yeah,
The
diabe
glucose,
yeah.
the glucose, whatever. And I had an examination, and the nurse gave me the worst news.
Mm.
She said that she could not find my baby's heartbeat.
Mm.
And I remember thinking, like, "Well, can't you see it?" I'm looking at the
Yes.
ultrasound, and I forgot for a moment that the ultrasound was live and it shows every moving
Yeah.
um, feature, blood flow and heartbeat. And I was just dumbfounded by that
Mhm.
news. And so immediately things progressed, and I had to go to the hospital, long, drawn out thing. But here's the thing, I told the Lord, and I thank God, I thank Him.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
said, I said, I'm expecting a miracle.
Mm.
And either way, it's a miracle.
Mm.
Either you put my baby's heartbeat back or he's
Mm.
in glory with you. But either way, it's a miracle.
Yeah.
And so I kneeled down to pray in the triage room, and I had never sensed such angelic beings ever before in my walk with God. But on this particular day, there was a gigantic angelic being, an angel. And
Mm.
I knew that that was confirming that my baby was gone. And so immediately I just was like, okay, I wanted to accept what it was. I didn't want to go crazy and try to coerce
Yes.
the doctors to do something again, test again, because we can do that. When we're dealing with grief and loss, we're bargaining and we're trying to not make it a reality. And so I accepted it by the
Yes.
grace of God. I said, this is what's
Yes.
happened.
Yes.
Gave birth to my baby. He's beautiful.
Mm.
My husband wanted to name him Adam because he said he was a new beginning.
Oh,
Even though in loss, he was
yes.
still a new beginning.
Oh.
And so we named him Adam. And before I left the hospital, after I'd given birth to him, I had spoken to my nurse. I
Mhm.
told her, I said, I don't believe God allowed me to carry this baby for these 5 months, almost going into 6 months, for him not to have a purpose. Everything attached to me has a purpose. So I'm going to find out what his purpose is. I'm going to do it.
Whew. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that. I'm rubbing myself because I have chills all over because that big an imagination of mine just allowed me to just relive that moment with you and
Mhm,
being able to feel that angelic presence.
mhm,
Um, uh, and I know that feeling when you feel God's presence, that it's so heavy and strong in the room. And I know that we are living in a seen and unseen realm. And boy, let me tell you how grateful I am for that unseen realm,
my
that
God.
God is working behind the scenes for us, and that He's like, listen, I know this is hard, so I'm going to send help. And so when you are talking about the help that was in that room that was unseen,
I
Oh
seen
my,
it this time. I
you seen it.
seen it. I didn't just feel it. It was so gigantic, he had to bend down to he had to kneel to be in the room. It was an amazing thing. I knew God was, like, with me. I had never, ever experienced that.
Wow.
Like a silhouette.
Mm, and so that makes me even just thank God even more for providing us the things that we need. Like,
Yeah,
God, I'm gonna need you to go, this is heavy. So please, what are you going to? And he provided, he showed himself to you in that moment. And I'm just so grateful for that, for
yeah,
you and your family. Like,
yeah. It was
so
amazing. Yes.
I could only imagine. And so, but since then, you've had another baby. You've had your baby.
I I got blessed with a rainbow baby, which I was not anticipating at all. Um,
Yes.
and he is such a joy. And
Yes.
even his presence is like, "Oh god, this sealed up our family. We're done.
We're
He
done.
we're done." 4 boys
Yes.
in a row, 4 boys.
Okay, so you have
Um,
4 boys. Because I think I met you, if I'm wrong, I think we met each other when you were currently pregnant with your
yeah.
last son, right?
Yes.
Yes, and so we met each other, you were telling me your story, and you were like, "But now, we have another baby on the way."
Yes.
How was that
Yes.
pregnancy for you? How did you navigate that pregnancy with what you had just yeah, well, that was fresh, so what you had just experienced in 2018.
Yeah, I always tell people that I was pregnant 3 years in a row because I was.
Yeah, you were.
2018,
Mhm. Yeah.
2019, and 2020, because my son overlapped,
Yeah.
I birthed him through COVID. And so,
Yeah.
looking back, there was actually so much comfort in being home and not
Mm.
having to deal with everything going out in the world. So I was just still, and I
Yes.
appreciated and enjoyed that pregnancy.
Mm.
Um, my family was on pins and needles
Yes.
from my sons to my husband and my mom and dad and sisters and brothers, because this
Yeah.
was a baby following a loss. But let
Yes.
me tell y'all something. Seth is the baby. He came out smiling.
He did.
It was so redeeming. It was so redeeming just to birth him, supernaturally
Oh,
birthing him after all of that. And
yes.
so he is just a joy and then some. He is just the light of our
Mm.
lives here. Mhm.
Oh, Seth, baby Seth.
Yeah,
Oh my
baby
goodness.
Seth.
How old is he now? So he's about
He's 1.5. He's
he's one
he's
and a
he's
half.
inching up to going on 2. He's toddlerville. He'll be 2 in July. But yeah,
Ooh,
it's
Toddlerville.
it's been great.
Yes.
It's been
And then
great.
your oldest is how old?
He'll be 10,
Okay, great. So yes. You guys
10,
are
7, and almost 2.
oh my god. Look, and speaking of, I don't know how she creeped in here.
I love it, but this is what we do.
This is
This
what we do. Can you say hi, Miss Shay?
Hi, sweetheart.
Yes, look, we're in mommy mode. We're doing all the things right now. Go back out there, mama. Thank you. So thank you for that story. And I'm so glad that you were able to have a were you guys even trying for another baby or did it just happen?
No, it just
Mm,
happened. We weren't
mm,
trying. We weren't trying.
woohoo. Okay. So Adam's purpose.
Yes, it's my baby.
Tell me how do you serve how do you serve your clientele? How do you serve I don't want to say clientele because I feel like it's more of a family. It's more so how do you serve your village?
Yeah, so right now, what we're doing, we have 4 components that
Okay.
that we're building out with the organization. It is a fully vested nonprofit organization here in
Yeah.
Denver. We have a board and we have
Yeah.
great plans to meet the
Yeah.
need because out of my personal story, we found out it was almost like a Me Too movement. as I shared my story, people were saying me too.
Yeah.
Now, I had the experience with pregnancy loss and losing um, my husband's mom, and then we lost
Yeah.
a niece and we lost a dog. So it was this,
Oh,
this pool of grief and loss in
yeah.
2018 that catapulted into the development of Adam's Purpose to have like
Mhm.
a community grief event to address grief and loss because no one was talking about it. So one of the components that we do in our organization is we host a grief and loss event that goes across the spectrum. Anybody can participate in that. That's coming up in March. So we do grief education for the
Yes.
Black community. Um,
Yes.
the other aspect that we do is right now I have a support group
Yeah.
for Black moms who have experienced pregnancy loss. So whether that's miscarriage, stillbirth like I experienced, or early infant loss, and that's
Mhm.
losing a baby within that first year of life. Um,
Yes.
and so
Yes.
we have a support group that meets every second Monday virtually right now
Yes.
to just engage those Black moms and provide a community, a safe place to talk
Mhm.
about it because we don't talk about grief and loss in our community as we should, and we're not giving each other permission to grieve. And that's what I ignite. And I like to encourage people to give yourself permission to grieve. The sooner you give yourself permission to
Yes.
grieve and you face this, the the more easy it will become to walk through a healing journey because we have to
Yes.
acknowledge that we've been impacted. We have to
Yes.
acknowledge that it's traumatic to lose a loved one. Um,
Yes.
and that just depends on, every loss is different. Every person's going to grieve different. You're going to grieve losses different. And so we have to give ourselves permission to grieve and grace to grieve. And as we give ourselves the grace to grieve, we give others grace too, because they don't know what to do with our journey.
Yes.
It's so
Yes.
we try to remove the pressure for other people to understand our pain. And we do that by accepting our own pain and giving
Okay.
ourselves permission.
Absolutely. I was gonna say, what do you think is the biggest misconception when it comes to the way that our people grieve, Black people grieve? What do you think, or maybe not misconception, but what are some of the issues that we have when it comes to the way that we grieve?
Yeah, I think from a cultural standpoint, we don't know oftentimes what it even means to grieve. So we can't even identify that we're grieving.
Mm,
So, for example, I mean,
mm,
we're talking about grief and loss as it relates to a loved one, but there's grief
yeah.
and loss as it relates to any life change. May I use you as an example?
Girl, please, because I was about to use me as an example.
Okay, so this is what came to me as I thought about this. So Candice, one of the things I'm really inspired about you is that,
Mm,
I was from a distance watching you build bonding to the beat and just
mm,
behind the scenes like go sister go, just
yes.
enjoying your development and as you
Mm,
shared your journey in different
mm,
aspects on social media.
yeah,
I was one of the people behind the scenes just delighted in
yeah,
seeing you push forward. And then when you had to make the change and the announcement of that you were going to have to close that and shift into a different direction, I'm sure that was not an easy decision for you to make
mm, mm-mm.
because you put your heart and soul and you did what God told you to do.
Yes,
And then it led to an ended road, an
yes,
apparent ended road, right?
yes,
And then you
yes.
have to pivot and adjust. But let me tell you why I'm so proud of you. You allowed yourself to grieve. You gave yourself permission to grieve. You know how I know, and I have not talked to you
Mm.
because you were able to launch and move
Ooh,
forward, Candace,
ooh.
and receive something new and different, even out of letting go of bonding to the beat. You were opened up and said, Okay, this chapter's closing, God. What do I do? This is all I know. This is all I've been grinding for since you gave it to me. I pressed as hard as I could and I put
Mm.
everything into this. Now you're telling me we're shutting that down? So you had to go through the steps of grieving: acceptance,
Mm.
denial, bartering, trying to, not bartering, bargaining,
Mhm.
you know. I don't know if you went through a little bit of anger and frustration.
Oh, are you kidding?
Okay. So from a distance, now, when you ask me that question, we as a people don't even identify with what is really grief. And so
Mm,
when we're faced with circumstances like, and even grieving marriages that have to end, or friendships that shift,
mm,
um, your profession and your business had to change. And so, and then we culminate this, and then we have a loved one that we lose. We don't even understand that most of the times we have been grieving.
yes.
We are grieving. And so
Yes.
when we can educate the community on what grief is, then we can show ways of healing and pathways to say, this is how we can cope through it. So, because that situation could have had you stuck, because
Ooh,
you could have had your whole identity wrapped in what you do. This is why we are who we are and we become. And we're not married to what we do. You're married to Baxter. You were not married to Bonding to the Beat, correct?
yes, correct, correct.
And so the Lord can do what he wants to do. He can say, none of that was in vain. Now I'm going to take everything I deposited in you and I'm going to use it for your good. And now we're going to shift in a different direction. And you're going to use all of that and fuel it into what I'm doing in the now, because I love you. I'm not going to let you bury yourself in the sand with a vision that is shifting. It doesn't mean it won't come back. It doesn't mean it won't be reverbed or rebirthed. But for now, this is the direction. And because you yielded your heart to
Mm.
submit and to subdue yourself to his will, you were able to pivot, and quickly. And now look, you went through the grieving process, my dear.
Let me get to look at Khadijah said, so good. And let me tell you something, Shay. The funny thing is, it's not funny. The God thing is that I did grieve. I did grieve. And truth be told, I was grieving all of 2021. Um, I wrote down a little timeline today, and February 17th always holds a special place for things. And so February 17th, 2021 is when I received news that they can no longer keep me in the business. The big contract that I had, they had to pull. And so the way that I cried on that couch, the way that it was almost as if someone had died. And I was
Mhm.
like, why am I crying like this? Like, why like this? And then because I was at the beginning of 2021, all of 2021, I just felt like, oh my goodness, like, I feel like, I feel like I'm reviving. I'm trying to hold on. I'm trying to hold on to the business. And then at the end of November, God said, enough.
Let it go.
You need to let this go. And you have to also understand, like you said, I'm going to make room for your gifts. You forgot that in the midst of all that in 2021, you were also like championing entrepreneurs, like, yeah, go, go. In the middle of trying to encourage yourself, you didn't even know that you were birthing a whole nother business.
That is so God.
That is, and I was like, and I was like, no, God, no, I'm not doing this. This is my business. This is my baby. And he was sitting there like,
Look, I'm gonna drink with you. A little
look,
hydration.
he was like, you gonna let it go, Candace? You gonna let it go? It's no longer serving you. Let it go. And and it's so funny that you caught that, because man, I grieved. And I grieved and I grieved. And then at the end of the year, it was kind of weird because my whole family got COVID. And so at the time that I was supposed to be like tying up loose ends, everything was shut down because we had gotten sick. And so then when it came time, I was like, it's go time. Let's go. And then you're right. It was like boom, 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 boom. Things just started moving. So, Shay, I want to thank you so much for sharing that with me and speaking that, because you're right on the money. When I tell you God spoke directly through you with that, that's exactly what I did. I grieved and then I gave birth. It was the craziest thing.
If people could catch this, if we could just sit with it long enough and process the loss, something else can be birthed. It doesn't replace what you're doing and building this new brand and this new business will never replace bonding to the beat,
No.
but it's a segue. And a foundation was already in you. You already laid the foundation for your credibility, for your new business, for how you've been inspiring women in these last 12 months. As you've been encouraging yourself through encouraging others, he
Mm.
was setting it up. He's just letting you know, go back and replay the tape, Kandice. I was setting you up. I knew this was going to come.
Yes.
So just like you trusted me to build that, trust me to build you. And this is it. In the Black community, it's like, I related to this. When someone is not well and they're sick and they're going to the doctor and they've been trying to figure out for years what's going on with them. And no one can pick up on it. And then they get to a specialist. And the
Mm.
specialist is like, well, this is what's happening.
Yes.
There's like a sense of relief of
Yeah.
knowing I'm not crazy. I
Mhm.
knew something was happening and going on. And it makes it easier for them to begin to accept,
Yeah.
because all of the signs and the symptoms were there. And it's like, well, I just didn't know. And that's
Yeah.
what it's like when you reveal to someone, sis, you're grieving. You're like, I didn't know I was grieving.
Yeah.
I thought that
Ye
was just when you lose a loved one. It is.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to ignite in our community,
Yeah.
is giving people permission to grieve. And let me say this,
Yes.
giving each other permission to grieve. Don't rush someone in their grieving journey because you're uncomfortable with their pain, because you don't know
Mm.
what to do with it. Because it's like, okay, that was 3 years ago or 4 years ago. Move on with it.
Yes.
That's not your place or position to
Mm.
push somebody past where they're at so that you can be comforted. That's the most selfish thing I've seen people do. We're so uncomfortable with grief that either we freeze or it
Mm.
disables us.
Mm.
And so we need to become a grief sensitive community,
Yes.
letting people grieve, giving them permission to grieve, not,
Mm.
judging them like, why are you sad? I just lost my friend. I just
Yes.
lost my husband. I
Yeah.
lost a child. Be
Yes.
compassionate. Be
Yeah.
kind. And if you don't know what to say nothing. Say, I'm thinking of you, or it hurts me that you're hurting. And I
Mm.
don't know what to say or do, but I'm so sorry this has happened to you. People
Mm.
told me you can have another child. Candace,
Mm.
I'm not playing. And guess what? During this process, the Lord gave me this. He said, you're going to have to be gracious with other people while you're grieving,
Ooh.
because they don't know any better, and neither did you. And the same things that they're saying before you experience grief, you said the same things and would likely say the same things, because to be acquainted with grief is to be acquainted with me.
Goodness, shame. I hope y'all are catching this, and I hope that you guys are really allowing this to penetrate your heart and your spirit like it is mine. Because Shay, when I tell you this is so good, I love the way you're saying turn it back on yourself. Don't play the victim role. Turn it back on yourself when you were that person, when you didn't know what to say. And so I want to know, like, what are some signs that people should look for when they're grieving? What are the signs of grief?
Yeah, that's a good question. So, like, for
Mhm.
example, in the initial stages, Candice,
Mm.
you could completely just not remember.
Yeah. Yeah.
Your brain can be foggy. They call it griever's
Mm.
fog or brain fog.
Mm.
So when I
Mm.
first lost my son, and this was complicated because, Candace, you have children, you've given birth.
Yeah.
My body was
Yeah.
still saying, "You have a baby."
A baby.
I was lactated
Yes.
the most out of all my children, the one that I lost,
Mm.
it was just like, "Okay, Niagara Falls." Okay?
Yes.
And I remember waking up in the middle of the night asking my husband, "Was I pregnant? Did we have a baby?"
Oh.
Uh, it was it was such a traumatic experience to my whole body, soul, and spirit that I fought to hold on to what was reality and to not
Mm.
numb myself to believe a lie to survive. So I pushed myself to face it. Yeah, because I was like, "I was just pregnant, now I'm not. Where's my baby?" It was so devastating. Another symptom of grieving,
Gosh.
is depression. You know, you're just
Yes.
depressed. You're
Yes.
not functioning the way you would. And guess what? We wanna give people permission to say, "It's okay, sweetheart, you're going through a difficult time in life.
Yes.
You're not gonna be the same,
Yes.
and the things that you used to be able to do for a while, you won't be able to do those things. And the sooner you can accept that you've been
Mm.
changed. And so imagine being a high functioning, contributor in your family to low functioning. Some of my
Yes.
best days, I just got dressed and took the kids to school, and I don't know what happened to the rest of the day.
God.
I got lost sitting here.
Yes. Yes.
And if it wasn't for me having to take the kids to school, I don't even know. And if it wasn't for them being old enough to say, "Mommy, it's time to go," I don't
Wow. Mm.
my emotions were shut down. My physical body hurt. So when you're
Mm.
grieving, you can have what they call psychosomatic symptoms.
Mm.
My
Mhm.
heart, I was having heart pains. Went to the
Wow.
doctor. She said, "Everything's good. We ran an EKG. You're fine." She said, "Sweetheart, you're grieving."
Oh.
My chest was tight, my heart was hurting. Your body is trying to regulate itself. Your body, your soul, your mind, it's all trying to protect and preserve you
Mm.
while you interface with
Mm.
trauma,
Mm.
okay? So you can have,
Mm.
memory issues, you can't remember.
Mhm.
You could be kind of depressed or despondent. Um,
Mm.
you might also have some physical ailments that seem like they come out of nowhere.
Mm.
Obviously, yeah, your mood has shifted. And so all of these things begin to impact who you are. And that's why we have to learn how to be too, because if I had focused on who I was before the grief, I would have been fighting myself to be who I was after the grief when I don't Shainika that everybody knew before I lost my son and my mother-in-law, she does not exist anymore. It
Mm.
changed me, and it changed me. This is gonna be difficult for some people to hear. Grief changed me for the better.
Mm.
I met with a friend, Candace, and she said, "Shay," and she's a therapist. We were meeting for coffee while she was coming in town. She said, Shay, she said, "You know that there's post-traumatic stress when you face something like you faced, right?" And I said, "Yeah." She said, "There's also post-traumatic growth." I said, "What?" She said, "Yeah." She said, "You have exhibited post-traumatic growth." God used me losing my son and my mother-in-law and a niece and a dog to grow me into who he called me to be. I don't
Mm,
despise it. I don't say it was easy. Um, I just think that I'm thankful that he's my God and
mm,
that he's been walking with me. And so this birthed Adam's purpose. Adam has a purpose. And so grief education, grief awareness, um, grief support recovery, culturally competent. This is the aspect of our organization is to
yes.
promote and to provide culturally competent grief support services. Because
Yes.
when we lost our people, we looked high and low and we went far out to get some help because we
Yes.
just wanted the help and they weren't ready for us. And I'm gonna just tell it how it is.
Yes.
Now we know coming through these last 2 years that
Yeah.
it's very apparent that they were
Yeah.
not ready for us. And so that
Yes.
added to my trauma that when I tried to get help, we were looked at and not.
Mm.
And so I was
Mm.
like, we need to be the change. I
Yes.
want to help people to go through, I want to help people to bypass that and for them to ignite their grief journey in a healing and loving and culturally sensitive atmosphere. And so
Yeah.
that's what we're trying to do with our support groups launching. We got the one for the moms. We're going to be trying to launch one for men and fathers
Yes.
and different aspects of different categories of, you know, grief as it
Yes.
relates. So we don't have an open group where all grief because I think it's very significant the pregnancy loss versus losing a child beyond that
Yes.
age. So we're working on igniting a group for that. And they're peer led. They're led
Yes.
by people who have experienced it. So that
Yes.
there's that component of safety and there's a component of being able to be relevant. It's, you know, it's not it's not and no pun intended, but it's not Susie from Cherry Creek telling
Yeah.
me how to grieve my loss as a Black mom with a Black.
Yes. Yes.
Can I make it
Absolutely.
real? Can I just put it real?
Yes. Yes, you can. Wow.
Because those are barriers. There's already barriers to getting mental health support. But if I know somebody that look like me, talk like me, relates to me, can hear me, not that our journeys are all the same, but I'm more likely to integrate into that type of environment where I know it's for me and I have to
Yes.
question whether
Mm.
it's for me because I need
Mm.
the help. Obviously, I know I need the help. And
Mm.
sometimes we don't know we need the help and we need somebody to ignite that flame and say, I see you.
Yes. Yes,
Come
Shay.
with me. Just come with. I don't tell people they need help. I say, come with me. Join me.
Yes.
I
Come with
hear
me.
you. Yeah. Because I'm one of you. I lost my
Yes.
baby too.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Whew. Shay, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And I know that we don't have much time, but I do want to hear about your consulting
Oh,
services.
yeah.
I know I hate to switch gears like that. I feel
No,
like
no, you're good. I move like that.
I feel like we could just talk about and talk and talk and talk all
We'll be
day.
hard.
Oh
Yes.
my. Really quick before we get into JCS, um, Alicia is on here. Thank you so much, Alicia, for joining us. She said, and you are that change, Shainika. I appreciate you, sis. You definitely helped ignite my flame.
I appreciate
So,
you, Alicia. You are such a queen. I
yeah.
just adore you. I've never met her in person, but I just adore
Mhm.
her.
Amen. Absolutely, Alicia. Thank you for just joining in on the comment section, really. So please, Shay, tell us about your consulting services.
Yeah, absolutely. So our consulting services is about bringing life to visions and helping visionaries to ignite the pathway to getting projects off the ground and to getting projects completed. So whether it is a new business idea, whether it's an existing business idea, or it can be even an event. I have a lot of experience in birthing out signature events.
Mm,
So I just love doing that. I just love seeing people's visions come to life.
mm.
And I've needed help when I've been a visionary. I still do. And so my quote is, a coach needs a coach. You know, a
Yes.
visionary needs a visionary.
Yes, yes.
So a consultant needs a consultant. And
Yes.
so Jacobs Consulting Services is we bring visions to life and projects to completion. And so
Mm,
that's what we do. Me and my husband, we do some consulting, mostly primarily me, but there's some things I consult him on, and I bring him on some projects because he has just a plethora, or plethora, if that's the
mm.
more appropriate word way
True.
to say it.
Yeah.
Yeah, experience in things that I don't have experience in, so we pair up really well, and so
Mm,
that's what we do. I do some one-on-one coaching, project management as well,
yes.
and then just consulting people on how to begin, how to ignite, and then, how to move or transition their vision from one place to the next.
Wow. I'm just taking some time. I'm trying to do the things to take the time with it
Mhm,
because this has been so good, and I see why I came into this with the expectation that
mhm.
I did. Shay, this was so good, and I am so grateful for all of the wisdom and the knowledge and just the pouring that you've done today on this live. And I cannot thank you enough for saying yes. I cannot thank you enough for just being open and transparent with myself and the audience. I thank you for this time. So, if there is anything else coming up that we should be on the lookout for, please, please let us know.
Yeah, let me just plug go to www.adamspurpose.org. We have a grief symposium that's coming up. I'm supposed to be getting that up on the web today.
Yeah.
But March 25th and 26th, we're going to hear personal testimonies on Friday, and then practical how to cope with professional clinicians on Saturday. So we'll actually go into, hey, this is how we how to impart self-care or breathing, or so we need that actual how to. So we're going to be doing
Yes.
that on April 2nd. We have a paint and sip.
Mm,
You can come and support us. We want to do
yes.
something fun in honor of grief awareness, grief education, and just kind of ignite the community and doing some fun things. And then on May 7th, this is a huge big thing.
Yes.
It's called A Mother's Mourn, Candace. I'm going to share just 30
Mm,
seconds more. Um,
please take your
okay,
time.
I'll be quick. A
Mm,
Mother's Mourn is a remembrance event for moms of deceased children, no matter the
mm,
age or the stage. And
mm,
so we want to honor those moms on Mother's Day or nearing Mother's Day because it's very difficult. Many
yeah.
women don't talk about what it feels like around Mother's Day, or
Mm,
any day when
yeah.
they have facing this season without their children, no matter how long ago it was or how young or how
Mm,
old. And
mm,
so we are wanting the community to join us in nominating a few moms that you think would be worthy of a little extra love, that we want to
mm,
do some recognition
mm,
in this community, and just embrace them and provide this space in the community that we're acknowledging moms who mourn. It is not easy to continue to live beyond your children. But there are
mm,
some moms out here who are doing it with grace, and you would never know it unless you knew them. And so, A Mother's Mourn is a remembrance brunch on May 7th
okay.
here in Denver. It's up on our website right now, and it's available for moms who have deceased children, no matter the age and stage. So this is not about the pregnancy loss. This is about
Mhm.
a mom who's
Yeah.
here and her child is in heaven. And family can attend because sometimes these moms need support. So if you are a sibling or a child of a mom and you've lost a sibling, or a spouse,
Yes.
so we are trying to ignite that it's okay to grieve and to honor remembrance. and
Yeah.
release. And so we'll be doing a special release during that time as well. So
Wow, Shay, you've got your hands busy and you are working the gift and the calling on your life. So I know that God is just so proud of his daughter. So keep on doing what you do. I know you will. Just know that we see you.
thank
We
you.
appreciate you. We honor you for the work that you're doing for our community on behalf of our community. So thank you for both Adam's Purpose and for Jacob's consulting services.
Yeah.
So, with that, you guys, we are going to get out of here. Uh, I thank you guys again for joining us, whether you're catching this right now or on the replay. This will be on YouTube, so please share this with someone who needs this. This was some good information, and I just feel like even if you haven't lost a baby, um like you said, Shay, we grieve in different ways, and that is a real thing. Okay, so thank you guys again for joining me. Shay, thank you for joining me. And any last words before we get out of here?
Grieve gracefully and give yourself permission to grieve.
Grieve gracefully and give yourself permission to grieve. I absolutely agree, Shay. Thank you, you guys. We'll see you around. Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.